All right, why don't we begin? Because I know that everyone is on a tight schedule and there's a lot of information sessions and there's a lot of great stuff to look at. So I am going to begin. I'm going to leave this window so that I can actually see what I am screen sharing. I will not be able to see you, nor I'll be able to read your questions until the very end. But I hope you can only hear me well. And if there's anything, I'm sure that the organizers has some way to like interject and like talk to me. So let me get to my PowerPoint that I'm currently screen sharing. So hello, everyone. It is really a pleasure to be here. I'm very happy to be talking about the ways that MAXQDA can be used to support social media analysis. So let me give you a very, very quick introduction. My name is Kate Fukazawa. I am an assistant senior instructional professor in the Global Studies program here at the University of Chicago. I am a sociologist by training, and I specialize in qualitative methods and particularly ethnography. Now, in the past several years, really since the pandemic started, I've been teaching a course on digital ethnography, and this is one of my favorite courses. And in that course, I ask students to engage in participant observation, data collection, and data analysis in a wide variety of online worlds. They actually have like free range to choose whichever social media platform or other kind of online world they want to analyze. And then we work our way through that. And in fact, it's in large part because of my students' work. This is that I'm doing this. It's what inspires me to really like think creatively about ways that we can rely on QDA software to facilitate all these practices. And this is particularly important because so much social interaction these days happens online, as this conference is also showing us. And the platforms where this interaction happens change with like surprising and almost annoying like speed. So that's one of the big reasons why I'm interested in this. The other reason why I really am into software assisted social media analysis is that one of my current areas of focus right now is video game studies. And these days, a lot of playing, streaming, and watching happens online on social media platforms. So we do need a way to figure out how to study that and how to analyze that data. So let's think through this. Why do we look at social media, and why is it so important to find tools that can help us analyze that? So the short answer is that social media platforms these days are one of the richest and most compelling sources of data about human behavior and about community formation and about cultural patterns. And then this digital field is fantastic. It's dynamic, it's multifaceted, and I think we should all admit that it's a very, very messy field. And it's that this messiness makes it very hard to manage, to analyze, and to visualize social media data without powerful tools. And I am the first to admit, even though I am trained as a traditional ethnographer, traditional field notes alone don't quite cut it. The sheer amount of information that gets circulated online is enough to overwhelm even like the most tenacious digital ethnographer. So what I'm trying to do today is thinking like, okay, how can MAXQDA help in this? So what I would like to cover in this spotlight are a few ways that we can use the software at all the crucial steps of the research process. So the steps being data collection, data management and organization, data analysis, and data visualization. And one of the things that is important to point out is because we are dealing with a virtual environment that is very much in flux and that operates on multiple levels, a key component that we need is flexibility. And what I would argue is that MAXQDA brings in flexibility in its support for multiple data formats, which include text, audio, video, and oftentimes this in a social media platform, they operate simultaneously, and they do sometimes different things, and they lead to different kinds of human engagement. So this PowerPoint is going to be brief because I know that you're all here, and this is designed to show you the specific functions in MAXQDA. So what I would like to do is just get directly into it. I am going to switch to screen sharing of my MAXQDA on my computer. Give me 1 second to figure this out. And stop sharing. Look at that. We all got so good at this during the pandemic, and then we quickly forgot as soon as we got back in person. All right, I think you should all see my MAXQDA now. Let me see. Yes. All right, sweet. So shall we get into it? So first, what I would like to do is show you where you can find the import tools. So where do you find the social media tools to import from social media sites? The good news is they're very, very clearly marked. They are up here, as you can see. This is what you're going to use. It's under the import tab. So if this is your first screen, this is going to be where you go. And I know that last year's spotlight on social media analysis mostly focused on Twitter data, which is great because I plan to focus on something else today. I will still show you how Twitter data import works, even though what I can show you is a little limited by the fact that I do not have a Twitter account. But if you were interested in doing Twitter analysis and analysis of tweets, what you would do is, intuitively enough, click on this. And as you can see, if I hover on it, it tells me what it is. So if you click on that and you do have a Twitter account, what you want to do is connect it to MAXQDA. So this links MAXQDA to your Twitter accounts. It allows the software access to the things that you would normally see on your feed. And as you can see, what happens is you have to accept this, the fact that you can't use it for all these purposes. But what you're allowed to do is then have like to be in the tweets that you're considering an exact phrase. Any of these words, you can exclude words that you don't want. And of course, because it's Twitter, you can work with hashtags and figure out which ones you're interested in and which ones you want to exclude. If you're specifically interested in some accounts, then you can also filter for those. And you can also filter for mentions if you would like. The other thing that I find particularly useful is that you can filter for language. And then you can specify a particular time that you want to. There are limitations to the import, and those are limitations that are imposed by Twitter as a platform. Because Twitter doesn't allow anyone to import tweets that are older than 1 week. This works great if you're doing a digital ethnography on contemporary times, because this is like usually what my students do. They are looking at a specific event, and if you are an ethnographer, you're doing participant observation, it's important to be immersed in the right now. So the limitation of tweets that are older than 1 week is not particularly challenging to go over, so you can track a lot of the conversations that are going on, and sometimes because of the way that retweets work, you can still get older tweets. So that's how you would start. After this window, if you were to click OK, what you would get is an Excel table on MAXQDA that gives you a wealth of information. They are imported as this table that has multiple columns, and each column is automatically coded, which makes a researcher's life very, very easy. And some of the information that you get in this column include like the time that the tweet was sent, obviously the text and the content of the tweet. All the hashtags are individually coded every time they occur in a tweet. And then you also have codes that show you whether that is a first tweet or a reply. You have sometimes if a user enters a location, you can have that information there. If all the information that the author of the tweet provides to the platform can be extracted there, it's just dependent on whether the author of the tweet puts that there. And then if you're into more quantitative analysis, you can also have a lot of quant data that's attached to it, including the number of followers of the author, the number retweets, the number of times that people have engaged with that. So that is going to be my spiel for Twitter, because as you could tell by the fact that I don't have a Twitter account, that's not exactly what my focus usually is. What I find particularly engaging in MAXQDA is YouTube, so I'll be talking a little bit more about that. And then I'm going to move on to think about creative ways that we can go past just these two websites and use MAXQDA to help us through that. So YouTube is one of my favorite things to study because it's in my opinion one of the most wonderful field sites for digital ethnographers and for scholars that are generally interested in online communities and community interaction, because of just how much is going on and how many levels of analysis you can bring to the table. So let's see how that works. So as you can imagine, this time instead of importing Twitter data, I would be importing YouTube data. I've prepared this to show you. So this is a video that I have selected, and it's called Crash Course Sociology, and it's the first episode of a crash course sequence of things. As you can see, this is me copying and pasting like the program retrieves important information about the video. So it tells me the title, it tells me the number of comments, and it also tells me whether we have transcripts of closed captions. And this is a goldmine for a researcher, because this particular video has 18 transcripts and closed captions. You have the choice to import the comments, which I would always recommend. This that I have left unchecked is an option to import only top level comments, which means that I would get just the first comments and not the replies. So whenever I do analysis, I always leave this unchecked because I am interested in the way that people engage with each other. I always leave the autocode comments, and we will see what that means. And then when you are asked if you want to import transcript and closed caption, and this one had 18, and the reason for that is that it has all these transcripts in all these languages. So that's one thing that sometimes you really luck out on YouTube. If the author of the video has all these transcripts, you have access to all of these.
Kate, are you hearing me?
These languages. Wait, hold on. Did someone say anything?
Yes, there's a problem. We only see your the main window and not the windows you open from MAXQDA. Maybe you can check it again.
They were just seeing me randomly looking at things. Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if I can fix it. Is there a way to to show my whole desktop? Probably. Look at that entire screen. This is probably gonna get very meta because then you're gonna see yourselves. But let's see if that happens. All right. Yes, it did get very meta. But at least now you should be able to see everything. Do you see?
Okay,
Do you see the little
yes,
screen now?
now we see it. I'm sorry to
Perfect.
interrupt
Okay,
you.
so let me just walk back 1 second, because I was talking about the Twitter data. This is the Twitter thing that I was talking about. So all those things that I was mentioning are right here. So let me get. This is the window. This is and let's get back to the YouTube data thing. Thank you. So since I don't speak a lot of these languages, we can leave this, like, uncheck all of them and then pick the ones that we want. I'm not sure why there's 2 Chinese ones, but we're gonna see what happens here. And then, well, there's a lot of people that speak German in the room, so we're gonna do that. I speak Italian, and let's do all the 2 English ones. And the optimal position where you not only have the video, but you were able to download it on your computer. Then you can link the existing video file to the transcript. I don't currently have the video file on my computer. If you're interested in doing this kind of research, there's a lot of third-party tools that allow you to download videos from YouTube. The other thing that you can do that I've done a few times is, it's the most low-tech solution ever, is I open my Zoom and I record myself watching the video, and that way I get the video recorded on Zoom. So that's one thing that you can do. And if you click on this, and if you do have the link, it links everything together. So you have the times in the transcript that get linked to the times in the video. So if I click OK here, and I already pre-downloaded this because it might take, oh, look at that. The Wi-Fi at the university today is favorable to our purposes. So as you can see, what the program is doing right now, it's collecting all of the comments. So there's 3,523 of them, and it's being very fast at that. So we'll be able to see exactly what it looks like once this is finished. Spoke too soon. Those last 5 seconds are going to be the death of us. Well, let me check on your window in the meantime. Oh yeah, sorry about the dialog windows that you were not able to see. Also, now you see me checking the things. Sorry, let me get back to the main window. All right, I think I was a little optimistic about the Wi-Fi. So we're gonna give it, let's say, another 10 seconds that it seems to need. And if not, I'm just going to cancel it. And I have pre-imported this because, you know, your Chicago Wi-Fi is notoriously bad. All right, we might have to call this. Let's cancel this import, which is fine. Here is what I did before. So once that has completed, the program creates this folder for you, which has the title of the video. It also creates a helpful memo that gives you all the data about the video. So it gives you the title, gives you the author, the link to the video, when it was published, which license it has, how many views it has at the time of download, how many likes. Also, this is like a unicorn of a video. I have never seen a YouTube video with 0 dislikes. That's kind of amazing in and of itself. And then a description and all of the links that are included in there. The other thing that we get is, as you can see, there are multiple documents here that are comments. If you double click on them, so there's multiple of them because there's over 3,000. So the program creates tables up to 1,000 comments every time. So we have 3 that are 1,000 and then the last one of 523. And as you can see, these are the tables that you get. These are the informations that are included. There is a number right here. And there is the actual comment, the author of the comment, if we have that, the author's YouTube channel, which is particularly helpful if you're tracking who is doing what, and then whether this is a top level comment or not, and how many replies that comment has got, as well as how many likes. So you can have all this information here. And if you can see, these are already coded, whether they are a reply or not. Program automatically assigned. For top level comments, it tells me how many replies they got. So if you're doing an analysis and you're interested in taking a look at which comment got the most reply, you can immediately identify that. Or like say, I want just to analyze comments that have more than 30 replies. You can immediately isolate those and because they are automatically coded. The other thing that we got out of it, aside from all the comments, is this. We got the transcripts. So I downloaded both 2 of the English ones. So the difference between those, if you can see, is this one has all the sentences are fragmented because they are more interested in getting like the exact timing of when the person that's speaking is saying the thing that they're saying, while this one is more by sentence. So depending on what you're trying to do with your analysis, one of the 2 transcripts is going to be more or less helpful to you. And then the Italian one, we only have one version, which is the one sentence by sentence. And as you can see, the timing also match with both of them. So this is also one thing that you can do if you're interested in doing something about like community translations of videos. This is a way that you can access all of the transcripts. I highly recommend if you're importing videos, absolutely do check the option to auto code them, generate all of those, and do the kind of, preliminary analysis that the program can do for you. Just take that chance because it can open a lot of opportunities for questions and you might not even know that you were asking. So what happens on top of all of that? There is, let me see, another member that I've created, but I think I'm cheating a little bit here. So in addition to this, sorry, one thing to mention is that if I had the video, all these timestamps would be able to link to the exact timestamp of the video that is uploaded. So the program obviously communicates and understands that those two things are linked. So now we have all of this data. We have it conveniently organized. So in terms of data collection and data management and organization, already we have that part that is basically taken care of. Now, the important thing after that is what do we do with all of this data? Because there is a lot of things that like you can see what users posted what and when, how other users replied to it, which comments got the most engagement, how many likes on average a comment gets. And we can also get a sense of who the users are because the program does import the YouTube channel of each user too. So all of those things that can give us a sense of what is this virtual world that we're observing, we can do that. And then I'm going to show you in the 10 minutes that we have, I'm going to show you a couple of functions that I really like that fall under the analysis category. This is not the only thing that you can do with this, but I think it's fun to play a little bit with that. And some are new things that I'm kind of really, really excited about. So if we go under the analysis tab, one of the things that I love that I've recently discovered is this Word Explorer tab. So the way that this works right now, I have, let's keep it, say this transcript right here. If you click on this, it opens up this tab that allows you to pick a word that you're interested in. So I think the reason why I created this memo, which I think it includes the word's behavior in it, is that because I wanted to same time. There we go. So say that I'm interested in how the author of this video and whatever happens in the transcript and in the video itself, when do they talk about behavior? This is the thing about sociology. I type the word behavior in the Word Explorer, and MAXQDA creates this very helpful table that tells me how that word is mobilized in this video. So we can see that we have 48 hits. So we have 48 times that this word appears in the document. And you can choose to do that in all of the documents or only the activated ones. So as you can see right now, it's doing that through all of these. I forgot to activate this. So if I do it now and I go back to the Word Explorer and I do behavior again, only the activated documents, this time I only have 4 hits. And one of them is in my memo because I did write a memo saying, this is a memo where I use the word behavior. So this is particularly helpful for a variety of reasons. So what I tell my students to do is once you do that, you go through the transcript, you start doing your coding, you start noticing things, and you want to write memos on it. And if you can highlight a thing, right click, and then insert a memo for selection if you are writing a memo on a text. So let's use behavior here too, so that it's going to pick it up. And then you can also attach a memo right here to the single document like I did. You can double click in that spot and say behavior again. And it attaches a memo right here. So you can add memos everywhere. It's super, super helpful. The other thing that you can do and that the Word Explorer picks up on is if you're into like the paraphrase mode, which is a mode that allows you to highlight parts of the text and to paraphrase them in your own words. So as you can see, this is all about behavior. It is a sociology thing. So if we go back to our Word Explorer now, it will pick up. Well, actually, I put the paraphrase in a different. There we go. It's going to pick up everything that I've just added. So if you have a memo where you mention behavior, and then you can see how many times it happens. This is very, very interesting too, is you can see that in context. So you can see whenever behavior is used, what is the most common context words that follows that, right? Or here, what is the most common word combination? So unsurprisingly, with the word like behavior, we have human behavior, understand social behavior, social behavior. So this is one thing that is super helpful to figure out what's going on linguistically, what kind of patterns are there. So if you study discourse and language like me, this is saving so much time, especially after you identify a lot of the words that you're interested in and a lot of the codes. And if you've done some preliminary coding on top of that. The other thing that I will show you in this last 5 minutes, and then I'm going to give you one last couple of things I want to talk about, is under the MAXDAYS tab. One thing that I like to play with is keywords in context, which does some of the same work. But there we go. Here we do that, and we pick sociology. It gives us the context. This case within all of the documents here. So it does a similar work as that, but it's a different way of visualizing it. So this is, again, if you're interested particularly in the words. And then I'm going to go quickly on visual tools, because this is a new thing. You are probably familiar if you've played with some of this in the past few years with the word cloud. Let me just highlight one so that we don't get too much mess. In the word cloud that creates creates this kind of mapping of what a particular transcript, a particular text is talking about. There is now an even cooler version of that, which shows you the word trends instead of just the word cloud. So the word trends here, it shows you in which sections certain words appear, how they trend, and you can track all of this, how many times they're mentioned. You can, of course, there are some that we can exclude here. So like this obviously is going to appear a lot in the comments, but these, and you can type to add words. So if we do that with our favorite word of the day, behavior, we can see, I mean, compared to the other, there's not a lot of mention. Someone says YouTube, they also say channel, which is unsurprising, except there is some slight difference. There's like a 2 mentioned difference here. So it gives you like a very clear idea visually of what's going on within the text that you're analyzing. You can add stop words list to, make sure that you don't get a lot of weird data in there. But this is one of my new favorite additions that helps a lot with social media analysis. And then one last thing that I will say is this that I've shown you is kind of like the optimal situation when you have like great data. You have like either YouTube or Twitter that is already optimized for like that MAXQDA already optimized for import. What happens if you're dealing with other social media and with sites that are not quite optimized to be directly imported into MAXQDA? So a few options here. You can use a lot of tools like web scraping tools, APIs. You can use social media monitoring tools. You can extract data from the social media platforms that you're studying. A lot of the times, this saves the data in formats like CSV, and that can then be imported into MAXQDA directly. In some cases, it might not even be necessary to go through all of this. You can use which is an extension for Chrome. And it's, if I can show you my Chrome, it's just going to look like this. It allows you to take data from the web page that you're observing and saves it either as a PDF or as a simplified web page. And the other thing that you can do right here is you can just import a web page by copying and pasting the link. And this does the same thing. You can choose to do it via text or PDF or image, and then you can run your analysis there. So there are options for other social media. So if you're doing something on Instagram, you can use the web pages and the web collector options to do that. And then I will just conclude by saying, like, it's kind of an obvious thing to say, but also we forget as researchers sometimes that no software will ever do the analysis for us. And I think especially the way that social media are developing right now and the way that we use them, it would be terrible for us to expect QDA software to be able to keep up with the speed at which this evolves in terms of like importing directly various pieces of data, for us researchers is that it offers this wide variety of tools that we can really be creative with. And these are tools that match the fluidity and the speed of change of an online environment, because even though maybe we're not thinking that like screenshotting a web page and turning it into a PDF was, you know, the best way to import data, and yet it works, and it works very well, and you can run a lot of deep and complicated and flexible types of analysis on it. So I think I am exactly at my half hour, so I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to get out of this meta sharing where you see a billion faces of me and now you see only one of me. All right, let me see. Let me get back to the Q&A. What is happening here? Wait, I'm in the wrong Q&A for session. Event. There we go. The topic modeling for social media analysis. I actually do not know how to use the topic modeling for social media analysis, I have to admit. So that is not a question that I can answer. I can take a look at it if you would like, but it would be very tentative. Okay, sorry, I'm just realizing that there are questions in the chat instead of the Q&A. Hold on, let me get there. I feel like I've reached that old age where I no longer know how to do all of these. Also, yes, that is indeed my office. There are indeed a lot of dinosaurs. I am a 10-year-old at heart. I have resources I think like even if you came in late, I think this is being recorded, so there will be a recording of this. For Facebook data, yes, I would recommend the web page import. I would play with that a lot, because I think sometimes depending on the privacy setting on each page, there is going to be multiple like best options for you. I've played with that a bit with like importing like group pages. Sometimes what I found was very helpful. So that it's visible a lot of the conversations that you want. It's a lot easier for the program to pick up. Sometimes I was doing it too fast, so like I would only open like the first bit and not scroll down, so it hadn't loaded yet when the program captured it, and I had like only half of the conversation. But yes, I do think that for Facebook it does work, particularly like if it's a public group. You can get a lot of information that way. What other social media are you all dealing with? The one that is giving me the most headache that I don't think any software has yet resolved is TikTok, that everyone wants to do research on, but because it's on mobile and it has like the worst security settings, it requires a lot of third-party tools to try and analyze that. There are ways that my students are finding to get like TikTok videos downloaded and then eventually imported to their computers. One thing that I will say that I see happening a lot is that a lot of the TikTok videos are now making their way to YouTube, which is great because then you can directly use MAXQDA. A big N number, that's if you're a big N researcher, it's going to be a little harder. But if you're dealing with something that is more about like specific things that you look at, like recording your screen, it's always my favorite thing to do, because then you can import the video recording into MAXQDA and analyze the video directly. So the for the direct import is only YouTube. I tried on Twitch, and I tried to trick the program by giving that the Twitch link instead of the YouTube link, and the program was like, no, this is not YouTube, I'm sorry. And the reason for that, I think it's because it picks up on specific parts of the web page. So the YouTube comments are in a specific part of the page, of the way that it's structured. And when Twitch, they're like on top of the video, so they can't. It's impossible to deal with that difference. So I usually just wait for the Twitch videos to be imported on YouTube, and then I can analyze that there. For online news articles, I would do share my entire screen. I want my name. Oh, there we go. Share that. So this is what I would do if you have a number of news articles. What I would do is use the web page via links from Excel list. The way that this works is that you would go. So right now I don't have any Excel table with links, but what happens with this is you would create an Excel table that has like a first column that says like, here's the URL. And then you copy and paste all of the articles that you want to analyze, like all the links to the articles that you want to analyze. And then in the other columns, you can also specify other things. Like you can write like, here's what the author of the article is. So you can almost do like some pre-coding. And the reason for that is that if then you use that function of importing through the Excel tables, the program asks you if you want to convert those things into variables. So every column you have the option of converting that into either a memo or a variable. And that way, in one smooth swoop, you're going to have all of those pages downloaded into either text or PDF and organized in MAXQDA and already like any other social media that I haven't thought about. I also experimented with Reddit on this, and because it's so text-based, it works very well with the text import with the web page import. If you convert that into a simplified web page, that is, though Reddit is also one of those strange beasts where you have both videos and pictures. LinkedIn, I think you can do that. I wonder, actually, I'm curious about the privacy setting on LinkedIn. Though I think like because of the way that the web page capture works, and it's kind of like just taking a screenshot of what you have on your screen, it doesn't have to deal too much with like depending on the kind of information that you're looking for. If you are looking for something like you want to see like the picture and the way that the page is arranged, then you would do the PDF version. If you're more interested in what someone posts, then I would do the text. And then the thing that I would do with LinkedIn, the kind of analysis I think it's primed for, it's doing like a network analysis of the various connections between the pages, and you can do that with the coding. Like someone who's friend with someone who's mentioned someone, you can do that. On Twitter, there are tricks to capture more data. I don't think there are like tricks so much. Like I think there are some third-party apps that allow you to get more stuff, and I think depending, there is like an institutional level or like there are multiple levels. So individuals can have access to a certain amount of data, and I think institutions can have access to a different amount of data. So depending on the institution, on the identity that you can embody, according to Twitter, I think that is how you get around some of the limitations. And then the other thing is, I don't dislike. Like I both. But I also kind of like it because it forces my students to actually do like the kind of participant activation that they should do, which is where they have to be there every day, not to miss anything, instead of like, waiting until the last day of the quarter and then they just download all of the tweets and hope to analyze all of those. But I do understand that for certain kinds of research that's a limitation that is a bit of a bummer. So not all the YouTube videos have transcripts. That is correct. So the ones that I found that for my example did have transcripts, and they had a lot of them, and that's great. Sometimes you get the auto-generated ones, and there are ways to capture those. I think there is a great post on the blog, on the MAXQDA blog from a few years back, that deals with like how to use certain tools to download the transcripts. Though I think like it might also be like the case where there's now even better tools that can do that. The other thing that you can do if you're doing like the old school trick of using Zoom to record that, Zoom has a very good I don't know if it's an AI or any what kind of software it is, but turn that on, record the video on Zoom, and then you end up with a transcript that you can import and link. I have not tried importing data from live YouTube video. That is a very good point. I think I don't see why it wouldn't work. Though the problem is that it would stop at the moment of the capture, right? Obviously, because like they can't predict what someone is about to say. But I think it would still work because it's still like a live video, and it would just get to that point of whenever you're capturing it. Though I mean, I think like what I would suggest is just to wait for the live to be over, and then whenever it's uploaded on YouTube, just download it then. But in terms of like the kind of thing that it gets, because at that point it's just a regular video, so you could download it at the end after the live. Yes, the Excel trick, the Excel import, it fits for different Facebook posts and different Facebook groups. It's always like again like a Facebook. It frustrates me because of every time it's like either a group or a page or a public group or a public page. They have slightly different privacy settings that sometimes mess with the things that you can import. But in terms of the links, yes, if it's a link to a page, it does work. I suspect that it works better like the more you can get on your screen, the more the program can see. I don't know though, that's a complete guess. I actually don't know how the tech works there. But I would give it a shot. I was trying for this session, like I toyed with the idea of also showing some Facebook things, and then I realized that I had 30 minutes and not 30 hours. But yeah, it's a fun tool to play with. All right. If there are no more questions, I thank you all for being here. Thank you for your engagement, and thank you for all your great questions. I encourage you to go and play with this and play with the new tools and new visualizations in the latest version of MAXQDA. Because I mean, the thing that I love about this program is that it really makes you want to go out and do research. All right. Enjoy the rest of your conference, everyone.